I'm saying, and mainly just hoping, but I feel pretty good that this Nico Iamaleava situation is not going to directly affect Baylor. I don't think Josh Heupel is going to be able to swoop in and get Sawyer Robertson off our team. So it doesn't directly affect Baylor in that sense. But this situation stinks. Man, like it really stinks for college football. And I'll be damned if I'm not going to take time out of my own podcast to talk about what is happening in the state of college football. I'm gonna handhold the mic here, like I did on the show yesterday, because I think it's important. This is just Cam unleashed a little bit, talking about why he hates the situation. Josh Pate came out with this report on Monday that the Tennessee players were going to, the heads of their football program before the college football playoff game in Columbus, Nico among them, saying, okay, it's time to pony up some more money. We got you to the playoff. Our NIL deal is for 12 games and the 13th if we go to the conference championship game. Now we're playing in the college football playoff. All right, here we go. Pony it up, or we're not playing, or we're not getting on the team playing if we don't get our money and those checks don't clear. That stinks. That just stinks for college football. Because look, we all, as college football fans, the overwhelming majority of us, noticed how draconian it was under the old system and how it screwed the players and their families all the time. Right? It was a terrible look that your coaches would be the highest paid state employees and the players couldn't have the car in front of them pay for their Taco Bell in the drive-thru. Like, I get the amateurism of college athletics, but that just stinks for everyone involved. Nobody wants that. But the way it's going now in NIL and college football in this Tennessee situation, that's too much, man. That's too much for a guy who's already making a couple $1 million to say, no, I'm going to hold out of the biggest game of the year, our biggest game at Tennessee in a decade, more, maybe 25 years, if I don't get more money, not the money that I'm owed, but more money. That's where you start to lose us. Because I know in the NIL era, we've looked at the people who bitch and complain about it all the time and say, yeah, okay, boomer. Right, old man yelling at clouds. But when it gets to this point, maybe I'm the old man. Maybe I'm yelling at clouds. Because it's starting to bug me too. And to be quite honest with you, as just fans of college football, it's exhausting that we're in April and a college football playoff team with a rabid fan base just loses its quarterback because $4 million or $5 million wasn't enough for the guy. And then you hear this story that thankfully didn't fully come to fruition, that they were ready to hold out of the college football playoff if they didn't get more money. That's exhausting, man. It's infuriating as a fan. And not just a fan, but like the people who work in this program, behind the scenes, the coaches, the staffers, the people in the athletic department. Could you imagine if that did come to fruition? And I'm not saying feel bad for Josh Heupel and the millions that he's got in his bank account. But I am thinking about all the GAs on that team who are making $30,000 a year in a full-on 12-month-a-year, 24/7 job now, who have a chance to advance in their career because of a college football playoff appearance, or maybe winning a game or two in the college football playoff, maybe playing in the Final Four, that gets jeopardized because these guys who are already making a couple $1 million say, you know what, before we get into the biggest part of our season, that's not enough. And I know the arguments. The arguments are, right, like, oh, well, college football coaches can enter the portal at any time. Right. Thank you, RG3. Thank you, Jay Billis. We get that. By the way, we don't like that either. We don't like that. We're not just celebrating the way that Brian Kelly left his players at Cincinnati. Nobody's idolizing Lincoln Riley and what he did at Oklahoma. We don't like that either. So using that argument is a terrible argument. Like, we also don't like that. And the other one I hear is like, oh, well, it's just like pro sports and you guys still watch pro sports. This is beyond that. Pro sports, you sign contracts. You live to the contract. Now, you can hold out at points, but A, we don't like that either. And B, it's much more structured than this, because I don't know who needs to hear this, but the guys who are getting paid millions and millions and millions of dollars in the NFL, NBA, MLB, all those guys, they are paid for the length of the regular season. Some have incentive-laden contracts, some. But your outside linebacker on the Philadelphia Eagles does not get an extra couple $1 million because they win the Super Bowl. You don't get, you don't get more money. You don't get bonuses just because you're playing in the postseason. And that's what these Tennessee players were doing. They were sitting out there with their hands out. Okay, we're in the college football playoff. More, please. The guy who's getting paid $30 million a year in Major League Baseball, they're getting paid from April to October. That's what they're getting paid for. They don't get something extra for playing in the playoffs. You play to win the World Series. You play to win the Super Bowl. You play to win the college football national championship. And that's what we as fans are going for. And I know Tennessee fans aren't exactly, the most sympathetic bunch. But again, this is probably their biggest game in 25 years, going up to Ohio State to play in the college football playoff. And those diehard fans, they're spending thousands in the busiest travel time of the entire year. That game was 4 days before Christmas. And they're spending thousands on flights and hotels and tickets to this game. And could you imagine on your way there, oh, Nico's not playing. Oh my God, did he get hurt in practice? No, the program just didn't give him more money. Like, that's what we mean by slimy and shady. This is what we don't like. We don't want the players to not get anything, but there's gotta be a medium here. There has to be. It's totally gone too far. It absolutely has gone too far. It stinks for us, the fan. Like, that there's no continuity. Like, we get that, but the fact that these players have their hands out for even more, like, that's actually not how the world works for most things, right? Like, if you're working in sales and you make a big sale, yes, you're going to get commission off that. I'm going to make more money if these get more views. But like, if Baylor makes the college football playoff, I don't just go to Locked On and say, all right, I'd like some more money now. Or just because I'm one of the top performing channels of all the Big 12 channels, that doesn't mean, okay, my base salary needs to be more. That's not how it is. And it's exhausting to follow as a college football fan right now. And to kind of round out this point, it doesn't come to fruition. This thing doesn't happen where players start holding out of the college football playoff. Because Tennessee can do that. Tennessee can pony up the money and make these kids happy and get them to kind of shut their mouths a little bit for a couple of games. Boise State was in the college football playoff. You think they can do that? Shoot, I don't know that Arizona State can do that. They were in the college football playoff. If Baylor makes it this year, they can't do that. In the drop of a hat, give their best 8 players, a couple extra, hundreds of thousands of dollars extra. You can't do that. So honestly, until something like that gets figured out, it's just a matter of time until that actually does happen. And most of the Big 12 schools probably can't pony up that kind of money. And most schools can't. But God forbid we have another Boise State next year and those players do decide to hold out because they can and they can't pay them. That's horrible for college football. And that would be the only thing that would hurt the bottom dollar is watering down their own playoff. And maybe that'll get them to open their eyes. But this situation stinks for everyone in college football, not just Tennessee. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're bringing you the #1 source of Baylor sports content and also looking around the Big 12 5 days a week. and then some on the weekends as well. Thank you so much for making it your first listen today and every day. And we will see you tomorrow. I guarantee it, on your favorite show, Locked On Baylor.